Good morning there. You're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jenna Basonko. And we hope that you all had an amazing weekend and all set to conquer the week. And I'm joined by my colleagues, Ibrahim Abalde and Mr. Mamoudou Mbouch. Gentlemen, welcome to the program, and how was your weekend?
Lady, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, so, I mean, the week that we've all been anticipating for is here. And we've been looking forward to coming on this morning. And alhamdulillah.
Why were you anticipating this week? Do you have a special occasion?
Because it will come.
Because it will come.
It will always come. As far as you are alive to witness it, alhamdulillah.
Or is it that it's just that it is part of your routine to the extent that you miss it?
No, when
from Monday to Thursday.
When it is Sunday, I mean, you look forward to the program, you know, okay, tomorrow is Monday, I'll have to be here. So you start missing it.
Yes. I certainly hope so.
Why am I?
So? Yeah, prepare for it on Sunday.
Lulu, it's not sitting well with me, but I'll just give him more help. So Mr. Mbojo, benefit of the doubt. Mr. Mbojo, how was your weekend?
It was the usual stuff. Hung up my mom. They're getting sort of that stage in our lives when a kind of equilibrium.
Why, Mr. Mbojo, you don't
hardly go.
You magulodi? I'm going to go 60.
Wow, I'm going to go 60.
I'm going to go 60. Wow, I'm going to go 60. Yo, halebunda Mr. Mbojo, Fidal, as long as I'm going to go 60, dal. Richer go retirement age. That's
it. And how come you there? Age is just a number. Wow. You know. So you are as old as you feel.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, the age is there, but I feel energetic. I feel like I can do things. So to me,
so man, I'm that belief you are energetic.
Oh, absolutely. I walk everywhere.
Okay.
And I'm constantly working on one thing.
It's about the mind.
It's about the mind.
Yes, you are right.
You are right.
It's really in your head. So in the energy, like, they have physical.
You mel known.
Oh my God. Why energy has to do with
in
the
your
mind.
head? You're doing a lot of
man loolu laa gëm moo tax nit ñi léegi-léegi ñu gis ma sax ñu ne ma ne sa biir baa ngi rëy demal nga toj ko ak yooyu but I'm carrying my beer. My beer is not heavy. I can carry it.
Generally, there's am na word bi naka lañ ko dee ooyee there's an age stigma. Ageism.
Yeah.
There's ageism in not just in the Gambia, but there's an ageism issue. So because there's an ageism issue on TikTok, women in their 30s have decided to come up with a trend to actually show themselves, to show that they're not old. Because on TikTok, most of the speakers will tell you when you're 30, time's up. Like as a woman, obviously, I think it has to do with the whole reproduction issue. Because when you're approaching or when you're 30. So recently, for the past 2 weeks, women in their 30s have decided to come up with a challenge, like, you know, to show themselves, to tell people to stop actually the whole ageism around women who are in their 30s. And I like the trend because, you know, it's kind of them as women encouraging each other that you're 30, maybe you don't have a child or you're not married, but it's still okay, you know, things like that.
Absolutely, and then to readjust perceptions.
About age.
Age and what a woman is.
That's it.
A woman is much more than merely for procreation.
There
are other things that women do. You can be brilliant scientists, you can be brilliant, all sorts of things. Yeah. So one is not defined by the simple aspect of that you are the one who would procreate, you know, sort of like, you know, carry the baby and stuff like that. But you are much more than that.
You are.
So once they reduce it to, once you're getting 30, the body clock, I'm like, I'm much more than that.
Well, it's a scientific, Bobo, it's a scientific thing. It's a scientific thing, but don't remind the person or don't make it a big deal because
that's exactly.
Some people choose not to, even though they cover the religious
well, I think this age thing, I mean, it's causing even problems in many societies. I mean, I won't mention the society before my yeah, so they believe, in fact, a young lady needs to get married probably at the age of 18, you know. So this is going to kill the dreams of many people of pursuing what they want to do. You understand? Because you are rushing to get into your husband's house at the age of 18, you know. So once you get to 30, 35, oh you are too old to get married.
Mr. Mbodj man gëm naa ne jigéen bu nekk balaa ngaa say in this time and age comme war ngaa mën a achieve something little like for yourself dañ ko dee gisee ne oh yaa ngi dem si sa kër jëkkër kooku mooy amee sa everything waaye jamono moo toolu fi nga xamante ne as a woman like there's just something that you're supposed to run back to when for example you nekkuloo di si dugga with the mindset ne dangaa tas or anything but you're gonna have kids sa jëkkër mun naa dee déedéet même waaw sa jëkkër tey man mun naa sëy suma jëkkër dee suma jëkkër su dee fekk man aw ma any emergency fund bu ma save or aw ma any property to my name aw ma dara man dama toog noonu rek where am I gonna go
agree naa loolu every woman should strive to do something for yourself career nga build sa career
loo xamante ne you can run back to it
or nga build something loo xam ne it is going to benefit you gis nañ fi jigéen yoo xam ne sax demuñ school
waaw ñu ngi def seen business
they are doing very good you understand I was surprised to know a young lady boo xam ne dama ko xamoon depuis bu mu nekkee Basse you know I was surprised to know kooku mu ngi am a home
waaw di ko ren
non foo xam ne in fact foofu la nit ñi day gën a coow in the Gambia
wala loolu rek te jigéen la
waaw waaye for the fact that Jenaba mu ne jamono moo ko laajte
man maa ko wax man Mr. Mbodj
xam nga jamono dafa yaaga fii
God
okay jamono have been here for a very long time each society su ñëwee ak num dee toone you understand but man I think ne bu nekkee ne jigéen dafa bëgg a build career am you can go ahead and build your career understand nga loolu daf laa gën a mun a jox an advantage rek waaye jamono
Mr. Mbodj things have changed
su fekkee ne sa jëkkër dafa la wax ne no dama bëgg nga nekk housewife
bul liggéey
what do you think
you follow that sa dépense
so you should follow
léegi si diggante bi nga cuus sa diggante sëy bi ak dem pasu sa carrière
waaw Mr. Mbodj man de sa dépense man daal
waaw
comme que léegi dañ koo base si religion bi daal nit ki daal boo ko teree dem defi carrière mutleel dépense boo mutlee dépense kaay nga wax ma ko ne ma bàyyi suma liggéey dara jaralu ma bàyyi suma liggéey
dafa dépend
su la neexee nga nekk xoola
dafa dépend
billionnaire man suma carrière du ma ko
sa
bàyyi
jëkkër bu la tegee
waaye may ma rek ci yow tam naa la laaj lii di la jox dépense loolu doy na la
non dama ko waxee loolu waxin la rek
there's something else possible within you li wanna fulfill boppam
déedéet xam nga dama ko waxee noonu xam nga lu tax ma waxee ko noonu because xam nañ ne dépense soo gisee ma waxee ko noonu loolu waxin la rek lu nit ñi dee wax dépense mu tut fii jigéen yu bari bu ñu leen joxee dépense ñun ñëpp xam nañ dañoo dem si ma som jigéen déglu rek bu ñu leen joxee dépense dañoo koti most of the women dañoo koti dem yoo ko fa jigéen yi ngaa gis Mr. Mbodj 5 am ñu carré seen paan seen kaw di daw dépense bu ñu leen jox dañ ko see teg xaaral mbubbi julli bu leen seen jëkkër jox dinañ si teg gàcce ngaa laa ma jigéen yi parce que loolu moo fi am sa dépense mu tut ba pare nga wax ni du liggéey loolu beesuloo ko fenn mut leen dépense njëkka
fii kenn du dinaay di fak ne
dépense yi dañ mut
ñu ngay góorgóorlu bu baax a baax loolu kenn dinaayut ko understand nga waaye xam nga tam affaire si dafa dépend si agreement boo am yow ak sa jëkkër man du sori sa dama jël exemple ak suma boppa man suma jabar dem na school so munoon naa dem liggéey mu def like any other person waaye man dañ am that agreement she said it's your choice
mun na
su nekkee ne you are okay with it okay I am okay with it man duma prefer let her stay at home
waaw man kenn benn góor Mr.
and she's doing it
man benn góor duma team
and there are no complaints benn complaint amu fa dafa depend si situation bi ak what agreement nga am ak sa partner understand nga waaye tam comme ne benn góor du ma wax loolu noonu
defuloo ko suma bët bi
loolu doo ko
mun a nga ne ma doo liggéey suma bët bi nga ko gisut lu nekk si bëti nit nga ko dee gisi
xam nga ku ne
gisuloo ko si suma bët ba nga maa tiim naan ma yow doo liggéey yaay kan
moo tax ma ne la dafa dépend
waaw suma bët bi lañ ko gisut
ak nit ki
waaw moo tax ma ne la gisuloo ko suma bët bi
gis nga ñi ñu dee coow nii
anyway Mr. Mbodj nañ si dem
ñoom Jeynaba
man du ma dugalantee benn góor boo xam ne daf maa teg benn
dañoo ne sawa ji mu ne nangut ma def lii
du ma dugalantee benn góor bu maa teg benn place you know why damaa dugalantee góor boo xam ne man I believe in conversations analyzing things talking about
conversation daf dee am
may ma Mr. Mbodj pour ñu jeexal man xam nga lu ma gëm I want a person bi nga xam ne ñun we are progressive. I am doing something. yaa ngi def dara ñu put ko together ñu waxtaan ne this is what we want to do. This is how much I want to inspire my kids.
Perfect.
loolu man la. mais ma rek wax na baatam.
that is
so
cool.
man Mr. Mbodj suma bot bi nga ko gisut.
non loolu
ba góor di ma tiim di ma wax naan. sa liggéey bàyyi ko or whatever suma bot gisuloo ko fa. xosula la damaa xosul.
bañu ma ne si want a person boo xam ne dañoo am that conversation and that agreement. loolu is granted. That is fine. noonu la war a demee sax ngeen agree onto something you grow together. understand waaye comme ne gisuloo ko suma bot.
gisuñ ko suma bot.
that is loolu.
Mr. Mbodj góor yi dafa xam nañ jigéen yi jigéen boo gis xam ngay mooy kan.
loolu I am going to call it pathologically wrong.
waaw. man góor dafut
loolu waruta feebar la waruta mel noonu.
suma bot bi man doo ma xool si kaw ba si suuf nga gis ma may xosul broad daylight every day nga tiim ma am suma family war a teral suma family war a teral suma family Gambia fii ñun ñëpp xam nañ ne kuy liggéey dangaa dellu jox sa yaay allowance jox sa papa allowance jox sa maam am ñoo war a dimbale sa jëkkër tiim la ne la bàyyi liggéey te moom mënu tam mutal loolu noonu gisuloo ko suma bot bi
waaye góor bi
gisuloo ko suma bot bi
su nekkee ne mu ngi ko mutal
munu ko
doesn't have any problem
so yow fu mu nekk nii yow lu la war yëpp yaa ko mutal de bu ma stress
amul benn xam nga
waa
you cannot
nañ dem
take
si
other
proverb
situations nga judge nit ñi seen situation dafa am ñoo xam ne they are doing very good and amuñ any issue
duñ la ko wax jigéen a bari sutura
so loolu la
Mr. Mbodj jigéen aka moo bari sutura dépense am su mutut sa du la ko wax jaral na ko mu dem koti lii ko sa dépense mutut mu suturaal la jigéen ñi noonu lañ mel
nañ move
waaw
kon ma ne man dama enjoy the spectacle
dina spectacle kañ dafa spectacle man daal affaire bi dem na ñëw na kenn du ma xool ne ma toogal bu liggéey loolu amut
ñu bàyyi ñii ñoom jeena ba ñu demee
kenn benn góor jaralu ma bàyyi suma carrière pour sëy kese parce que liggéey si sëy la bokk liggéey si sëy la bokk yàlla mun naa def ma am suma jëkkër mu cripple
so lii la this is what our society is
that allows you to carry out all your transactions no matter where you are or what time it is. You can always access your funds. With the new Q Money app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy Q Power, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send Q Money, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that debate. Actually, Balde, Hamga, we are still debating. So we head over now to the African proverb, which is from Namibia. Learn with the left hand while you still have the right hand. Learn with the left hand while you still have the right hand. This is from Namibia.
No, it depends on whether you are left-handed or right-handed. That depends. Man munuma jange left hand. Okay. Man I am right-handed. Okay. Football right la ko kiye. Loho left la. Why mung la won try practicing impossibilities. Probably you might need them tomorrow. Tay yala tere go right hand bi mun na dog. Understand? So doge maybe sa living be practice nga ko. Practice make perfect. Probably loolu la nekk di wax. Why if I have my right hand, I'm going to use my right hand to do my things. You know. So I don't know how much lan yow nga foog Mr. Mbodj on this.
Man daal ba maa ngi analyse. Waaw bàyyi leen ma analyse. Waaw.
Mr. Balde, do you know what we must do? Let's take it in the spirit of the quote, the proverb itself. Our society, I'm knowing this belief, the right hand is the main one, isn't it? It even tells you here, learn with the left hand. If I mean the left hand be in the beginning, the right hand was the main one. I'm doing all sorts of sinister associations with left hand, isn't it?
That's true.
So that is it. So essentially,
you're not supposed to use it for that.
That's it. So for jaring that social background, really to unraveling, to exposing what this means. So, but this is it, isn't it? It's almost, I think it's telling you that prepare for a rainy day.
Yeah, in case. Prepare for a rainy day.
Prepare for a rainy day. I think that's essentially what this thing is.
Sort of a contingency plan or something.
Wow. Of course. Whilst my right hand is working, you just never know.
Wow,
I better teach, exactly. I better teach my left hand to be doing things in case.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I've got all my eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
If it goes wrong.
Lii lañ fi doon argue si bu njëkk ba rek ne nit ki danga am nga lii waaye ba léegi always have a contingency.
Danga war a am reserve.
Wow.
In case of emergency.
Anything can happen. Lu nekk mun na laa dal. Bul just feel ne you're comfortable completely with sa right hand because sa right hand that's what you're allowed to use. Bu si comfortable bi nga xamante ne dang see noppale ko. Always have a other hand bi nga xamante ne bii su tàngee di nga mun a am another resort pour nga def ko. So that was my argument in the beginning. Tey for example góor suy liggéey jigéen di liggéey góor bi su liggéeyee obviously moom moo dee take care of the home waaye yàlla su dogalee mun na moo am accident mun na moo dee jigéen bi dina mun a jóg mu jàppale njaboot bi liggéey bu mu def.
Gis nga Jenaba is very interesting. Understand nga Jenaba wax na fi mu ne am na góor yu bëri góor yoo xam ne seen dépense mutut.
waaw maa ko wax.
Understand nga wax na ko
góor yu seen dépense mutut
waaye léegi what about jigéen yoo xam ne ñoom tam dañ believe ne man su ma liggéeyee man maa ko moom it's not for my husband. am na ñoo xam ne duñ ko dee share dañ feel ne góor bi moo war a def lu nekka moom xaalisam bi su demee ba liggéey ñu fekk ko rek moom daf ko war a jël mu pocket ko mu bank ko
góor bu baax
loolu am na góor bu baax daf ko war a xalaat ñun we are thinking like that xam nga ñun ñëpp dañ am problème am na jigéen yoo xam ne ñoom seen alal ñoom ñoo ko moom ñoom ñoo ko liggéey ñoom seen ñoo ko ñaxa no but that's the reality.
wax baa ngee soog a leer.
soo yooloo moom yaa ko moom.
non
ñun góor yi luñ moom ñun ñoo ko génne. ba pare yaa ngeen ne fii you are developing your career because da ngeen war a supportante.
waaw Mr Mbodj man I will support kër bi. comme Mr Mbodj ma bamtuwaat suma wax bi. jigéen yi enu 5 am xam nga lu tax ñuy enu seen dépense su mututee ñu mottali ko xale yi seen lañ su mutut ñu mottali ko. xale yi su leen war a xam nga ñaata jaaykati jën ñu ngi fayal seen doom yi ay jigéen school fees UTG.
man xam nga lan moo ma si gën a naxari dañoo wax rek ñu jël jaaykati marché
non dama la
exemple jaaykati jën yi ñii ñoo soona ñii every time ñooñu lañ day jël di ko use as an exemple yow jaaykati jën yooyu dañ la ne ñoom seen jëkkër luñ leen a jox mutut
loolu is a waxuñ la ko ba is a general ñun jigéen lañ
am na ñoo xam ne seen jëkkër yaa génnee xaalis jëkkër yaa génnee xaalis ñu jox leen because they want to do business daf leen ne ñu invest am na ñoo xam ne they are women they are working waaye seen xaalis yi jëkkër lañ nekk di liggéeyee
waaw no problème
understand
amuñ si problème
buñ góor yi dañ soona ñun léegi dañ soona fuñ dem jigéen yi di ñu bamti di ñu ne suñ ay dépense doyut suñ li baaxut ñun duñ dee jàppale lifin yéen ana loo leen ñu jàppale
waaye Balde
jigéen yaa ngi jàppale
Allahu Akbar earlier on wow bi nga refer to your wife it seems as if your wife isn't doing that true or false
uyul
non man agreement laa am ak suma jabar she is okay with everything mënoon naa dem liggéey like any other person waaye moom konka dafa bugg a dégg man suma kaddu ok ba pare dafa bugg a stay for the sake of our kids understand so moom mu ne it's an option yow yaa xam you choose anything you decide you go in for it ma ne ko ne okay fine man I want you to stay at home
so you chose
wow.
and she did
and she agreed and we didn't have any issue
well this is exactly my point so li nga ne jigéen ñi ñu ngi ñoo def lii waaye yow sa jigéen melut noonu de so loolu ci jigéen ñi la de
waaw moom amul benn issue with staying at home.
See?
Waaye léegi man dama nekk di connect.
So dafa des rek léegi
what about ñooñu ñi nga xam ne ñu ngi kirsi di amal seen boppa at the end of the time are they bringing it at home. ñu def ko si table bi ñu mun a support family bi bu man gis naa fi ñoo xam ne ñooñu noonu luñ am ñoom ñoo ko moom
man suma maam bu
waaye góor bi lu mu liggéey góor bi moo ko
jigéen Mr Mbodj
waaye ma foog ne ñu ne góor ñu ñoo war a take care of the wives
absolutely
so waaye
léegi ñun ñoo war a take care of the wives
waaw bon li moom moo ko moom
ok so léegi moom moo ko moom that is true waaye tam dafa depend si góor bi ndax mun na laa bàyyi nga dem uti loo moom
waaye this is weird earlier on yaa ngi ko put as if ne it was her right waaye léegi yaa ngi bëgg a revoke loolu because sutut la
no I'm not talking about that
okay what are you talking about
ma ne la option la I didn't say
okay su ne bëggul
dafa depend moo tax since in the beginning dama la ne conversation la dañoo waxtaan
man
góor bi ak jigéen bi dañoo agree xam nga the problem is xam nga the society today the problem that we have yal na ma yàlla baalal de it's not nekkul jigéen ñi yëpp.
nañ move
why
on.
is people like Jenaba.
Excuse me.
Jenaba ga dañoo
Excuse me.
ñoom Jenaba dañoo jóg ñu ne ñun duñ ko jël. No man is going to put me at a corner. Blah blah.
I said.
Our youngsters. Listen.
Extraordinary.
Mane bu ebo mu nekk attack.
Time
Our
out.
daughters are watching this.
Time
Understand?
out,
So
time
ñoom
out,
dañoo
time
feel ne
out.
okay Jenaba is right.
Let's move on.
Jenaba is right.
Let's
Understand?
move on. Let's
Ku ko
move
buggaat
on.
na ko def ku ko bugut na ko bàyyi.
Let's move on, no problem. All I know is Ken Duma take Bena Plus and Ken is not going to
Man,
be
suma
a reason
tagon
for
nga
man
tok
buma
Bena
liggéey.
Plus.
So let's take a look at GRA Awards. On Saturday, the GRA Awards actually took place. And then we saw a lot of organizations who were recognized in various categories.
Yeah.
Pay your tax, help build the nation. And it was very diverse, the different organizations. And QCell was part of the awardees
Yes,
for the award ceremony, which was a good thing.
I sit and watch the whole program at home, and I was really happy when QCell received Taxpayer of the Year.
Yeah.
And you know, I was like, okay, this is a pride. We are happy to see QCell being awarded this award. I mean, this thing is very important to us, as you know. Therefore, I pay tax. As you know. So that is what it is, Mr. Boy.
And Nyata Awards.
It's been
When you saw
consistent.
them in the hall, the awards cabinet,
Wow.
where we just filled in there. So it's almost as if sort of corporate social responsibility, I can call it that. You know, you need to pay your taxes. Has to be part of the brand.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. It has to be your character. It has to be you. What defines you as a company. So, yes.
Yeah,
obviously,
and also we saw the April 10th, 25 years on since the April 10th student massacre, as it's called. The Fantanka is a local organization on transitional justice processes, a company complementing government efforts. This year they decided to mark it in a completely different way, a tree planting exercise, planting trees for each victim. And when you scan on the board for each victim, you get to read the profile of that particular victim and in an area. I think it's really innovative. I like the idea.
Absolutely. A powerful act of remembrance, I'll call it, because of how it combined green, you know, sustainability, climate change. It really combined the two between that and the commemoration and the remembrance of people who died. So that was an imaginative really activity I really liked. Yes, 15 of them, and they're going to plant 15 trees. And they'll all be tagged.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Absolutely, a powerful reminder, if you know what I mean. So, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It reminds me, 25 years ago, well, I was part of the students. I mean, can you imagine?
How
you know,
old were you?
At that time?
I was going to primary school then.
I know that. You were really very
I was
young,
in my,
weren't you?
is it in my grade 5?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of things happened. And it's now that I'm thinking, even this morning I was telling Churchill Balde, boy, how risky that was. I mean, when the paramilitary was firing bullets, I was, you know, in the middle of that.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Where?
Oh
The
my
location?
God.
I was there.
Where exactly?
We started from Latrikunda. We went our street at Serekunda Market and Westfield. In fact, the chaos was even crazy at Westfield. So there was a lot of firing of bullets. I was there.
It's good you're telling us this.
You know, so it was crazy.
So Balde yangi won si students si lol nga min.
My own Sibir.
Topa guy. That's crazy, right?
In fact, nekuma won si ganaw de. Magi won si kanam. Can you imagine hale? Mota hale do de halat. Fi sante ak paray ni. Fetel. You know.
Balde, this is not even funny, bro. Why am I laughing?
So de yepum rek nga daw.
Nga taw.
Nga
Nga
ñëwaat.
lahat.
What a contrast. When I wasn't in the country.
Can you imagine?
So
a lot of things happened.
Wow. Man mom, I didn't time bo feka start ngoma school 2000.
Yaa ngi tuuti woon.
Wa mangi Ndawon and stuff. So I can't even remember nothing.
I was there. I remember the day. I mean,
you know. But anyway, victims are calling for, accountability, reparations, especially the reparations part. They're calling for. But anyway, to connect it, the Gambia government has officially sworn in commissioners of the Reparations Commission, who now have a mandate to ensure that victims of the whole process are, compensated for the human rights violations, which is great. It took time, but at least it's happening, Mr. Mboch.
Well, it was bound to take time, really, because there would always be issues of resources or expertise or all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So, yes, now we finally got the commission. Let's make it work. They're going to have to come up with a scheme of how to dispense, as it were, with their duties as the Reparations Commission. You know that whatever decision they take, it's going to be controversial. It's going to be really very difficult. We all understand that.
Yeah.
But absolutely, we will see how it goes, really. It's a very difficult area, really. Nobody in the end, a good number of people wouldn't be satisfied. So how do we prepare for really a very difficult journey? And the reparations is just one thing. Prosecutions, you know what I mean? Ultimately, the notion of accountability is really part of reparations, if you know what I mean.
Reparations,
so that will come as well.
Too can come in different forms.
In different forms, that's the idea.
So sometimes when you talk about reparations,
it's difficult.
The thing that people you put to attention more
the
is
money,
financial,
financial.
But it's totally different. Some would be given treatment. Some would be, given certain things. But let's see, as far as the commissioners have been sworn in, probably it's a step to the right direction.
So I suppose what I was trying to do was simply to adjust expectations. Sometimes we have such high expectations of things, and then we get disappointed so easily, and then pessimism or cynicism sets in. Because initially the expectation was too high. Let us have realistic expectations, you know what I mean?
Well, even in life, Mr. Mumurumboja, I mean, when you don't expect a lot, at the end of time, you won't be disappointed that much.
But I mean, we should also remember that we're not directly victims, so we can't speak for them. Obviously, because of, the trauma and everything that they're dealing with. So it's normal that they keep pushing government and wanting to hold them or want swift.
That's a key point.
Yes.
But there I will ask you, let's make a distinction. How the victim feels, the psychology, everybody would sympathize with that. It's absolutely different. But again, processes, as it were, procedures, processes, laws, they also have their own logic. So I, as an independent observer, I must take both into account. That's it. This is really what I'm talking about. So that I will adjust expectations to means. What means do we have to achieve this? Stuff like that.
So before we wrap up and, have our next guests, on social media, what is the topic currently? What is the most controversial? It's a Banjul United team manager had allegedly assaulted one of the team members. Banjul United female football team. It's the female team, and it's alleged that the program manager assaulted one of the players, and there's an image that has been shared on social media of the face of the player swollen around the eyes and the entire face swollen. They actually had an alteration, and allegedly it resulted to the team manager assaulting.
Is the manager a female too?
No, there is a male.
Assaulted a female?
Yes. So there was a lot of noise online from women-led organizations. So there was a press release by Banjul United, which, clarifies everything and says that the manager is now suspended and the whole process is undergoing investigation. And you can see how women-led organizations and human rights activists are calling on the Gambia Police Force to directly involve and investigate the matter. It's not enough just for, the team to do the investigation. This brings us to the topic women football. Already they are vulnerable, and then if we have the individuals who are supposed to train them, assault them, then it becomes a challenge.
This is telling you where is our professionalism? It's telling us where is our training. I mean, as far as these things are concerned. I mean, people that you are supposed to manage, especially young female. We all understand how our female football is in the Gambia.
Yeah.
So it's part of the management. You know how to move about with these people. You know how to tackle and handle certain things without violence, especially to that extent.
That's the ideal. I've taken a completely sort of human view on this. Sometimes people lose their temper. They cannot control it.
Actually, Mr. Mboj, I'll just get in there. It's Banjul United. Not
Banjul United?
Yes, it's Banjul United. Birkama. It's
Birkama
Birkama United.
Birkama.
Yeah, not
Birkama.
Banjul United.
Banjul.
So
Okay.
Banjul, apologies. I don't want you guys coming
Not
after
Banjul,
me.
but Birkama.
Yes, Birkama United. Is the issue is with Birkama United. So we deeply apologize for that. Yes.
All right. So absolutely, for me, I'm just very human here. People lose their temper sometimes and do what they shouldn't do.
Yeah.
I think the important thing is with institutions, for instance, Birkama United, the management and all of that.
Yeah.
When such occurrences
Happen.
happen, what do you do? How do you
Handle
handle
it.
it? So it is the institutional responsibility that really in the end makes a difference.
Yeah.
Human beings, individuals, at any time will do all sorts of things.
Yeah.
We have to be realistic about that.
Yeah.
It is the institutions really that make for an orderly society. So how are they going to handle it?
Well,
so of course here you will have elements of gender-based violence.
It is
that sort of
gender-based
thing.
violence.
Absolutely. But maybe I shouldn't overplay it much because sometimes you have managers fighting or hitting other male players.
Yeah, but the fact
so it's
her
more,
face is
maybe it's more about that momentary loss of control over your emotions.
Unacceptable.
And you are a manager. You must be able to do that.
So we'll move on, gentlemen, due to time
that's
constraints. A very sad situation is completely unacceptable, just to say. But thank you so much, Mr. Mboj, for joining us on the program. So, Ibrahima, you have been to Turkey. So there are some happenings in Turkey as Antalya Diplomacy Forum 2025. We've seen that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mamadou Tangara, was there. So generally, this happens in Turkey, bringing together persons from academia, diplomats, and just individuals from different sectors to come together to discuss policies and just the way forward for diplomacy globally. So we will take a look at this particular insight from Mamadou Tangara and everything that actually happened and Gambia's participation in this forum. We'll be right back.
Well, on the sidelines of the forum, the Gambian Foreign Minister spoke to TRT World, highlighting the strong ties between Turkey and Gambia.
Excellent. I think Turkey has been a very reliable partner that respect the partners that they are dealing with, no imposition. One thing, Gambia, we are a small nation, but I say nations are not small. We make ourselves small or big, depending on our attitude. And if any country wants to impose their values, their culture on us, we reject it, because first and foremost, we are Gambians and we are Africans. And Turkey respects all the partners. And this is an opportunity also to commend them and thank them for the support that they've given to Gambia during our hosting of the summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. And today, Turkey, Gambia, and Azerbaijan are the troika of the OIC. And with their support, we try to champion noble causes, like the causes of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And wherever we see injustice, we will denounce it. They are also very supportive in our case against Myanmar to make sure that the rights of the Rohingya peoples are respected.
Kiusel moy suñu boss. Kiusel moy suñu boss. Kiusel moy suñu boss. Soru Ko ebeda wada full network suda tili QCell. Ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata QCell. Most reliable network jumala keta wati QCell. Wo quality man nyon soda jam ona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria QCell. Sunyu boss. Nyo finjeka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Sunyu boss. Itella follow adi doron nesa keno. Sunyu boss. Gambia bela nyon tawo fele QCell. Sunyu boss. Ko fason tawo buka busi QCell. Sunyu boss. Itella multi milka kukutol nati Gambia QCell meta lori la kilianol yele imanyina amanda wala itella ka quality dila dadi ma itelle silo wala wodol mume be keno ma QCell sunyu boss QCell sunyu boss QCell sunyu boss QCell sunyu boss connect solo be bambandi QCell sunyu boss QCell most innovative QCell sunyu boss.
Kiumoni arti webi na fitoragol no yawi te non kadi no moƴƴi kiumoni a wawa wadde piiji ɗin fow kala ko wonɗa wattu kala a wawa hendade mbuuɗi maɗin e o kiumoni apke song a wawa nattinde mbuuɗi ma ɗum yaltina soda crédit soda kiw paɓa soda ko falaɗa te non kadi wawa hen yoɓude himɓe e ko heewi ina wawi kadi nuldude kiumoni yoɓa bilji maɗin te non kadi hendoɗa mbuuɗi ko yaasi nulda himɓe kadi mbuuɗi fi nafitoragol ɗum no weeɓi yahu ka play store ma ɗum ka app store fi wawa fuɗɗade fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi noddu kiwmoni customer care e 133 kiwmoni suñu kalpe minen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV This Morning, and I am Jenna Bosonko. So moving on, Ibrahima, we're heading to a very interesting session, which is Africa's first Vuvunam tournament in the Gambia. So Vuvunam actually means martial arts of Vietnam. That is what this word means, if you're wondering what it means. And Mahmoud Njai, who's the president and founder, is actually the first black belt holder of Vuvunam in the Gambia. So congratulations. We congratulations for the amazing work that you have done. And you're joined by your colleague as well, Babu Njai.
Let's do this in the local language.
Yes, we will be doing that. We will be doing that. So Ibrahima, come na mako wahe, Vuvunam mo mean martial arts of Vietnam.
Vietnam, wow.
Yes. And then ñu am fi Mr. Njai, mi nga xamantene mom he's the first black belt holder in martial arts of Vietnam. And Demba, when I was going through sa profile, but I am, impressed with the work that you have done. Congratulations. So tay mom ñaari Mr. Njai lañ fi am. So mo bëgg xam rek naka nga démé be find out about the whole martial arts of Vietnam. Naka nga ko find out be yo nga mëna nekk a black belt holder bala ñoo dem ci tournament bi while the process of you getting onto doing this.
Waaw man dama bëggoon xam what is the difference?
Balde mbaadu dara balde. So suñu argument bi moo tax nga ma dog
the difference between this ak karate bala ñoo ñëw.
Non dañ bala karate kañ nañu wax moom naka la ko dundee.
Gaa dañoo solo comme ñuy karate. So dañ bëgg xam what is karate.
Tey nag balde daf ma mere de. Xam nga bro Mr. Njai ñaari Mr. Njai xam nga balaa ngeen a ñëw maa moom dañ fi amoon benn alteration bu métti so maa ngee wax suma wax mu ngi faa dugg xam nga mu ngi maa tooñ léegi fu mu nekkee ne yéen laa koo booleel ngeen dóoral ma ko balaa ngeen di dem daal karaateel leen ma defal leen ko bu Vietnam bi rek balaa ngeen di dem
bu Vietnam bi
bu Vietnam bi
balde sama waay la balde
waaw bismillah
waaw asalaamaaleykum
waaleykum salaam
maa leen di nuyu bu baax di leen ziyaare di am kontaante bu baax ci li ngeen ñu dalal
waaw
yàggoon nañ ko sàkku waaye lu nekk rek time la te yéen seen programme bi yëpp da ngeen ko organise ñu leen dee follow nag every day
dëgg la
di am kontaante bu baax ci li ngeen ñu dalal maa ngi tudd Mahmoud Njai di founder of Vuvunam Viet Vo Dao in the Gambia and the president of the association. So sport bi mi ngi tudd Vuvunam Viet Vo Dao comme noo ko waxee rek mi ngi jógee ko Vietnam. It's combined 5 disciplines: karate, kung fu, judo, boxe and taekwondo.
Okay.
Comme soo ne karaté ne kung fu moom tamit dafa am au néemam ku ko create di Master Nguyen Loc mi ngi dëkk Vietnam moom bu mu ko
I think in 1938 something like that. Yes, 1938
si la ko create te bu mu ko create fekk mi ngi def discipline yooyu yëpp si la boole seen technique si yeeg yëpp mu am benn bosam tuddee ko Vovinam Viet Vo Dao. It's a Vietnam's way of martial art. So ñun nag yàlla dafa dogal jamono buñ ko fi ici 2008 ñu ngi ko jàngee Sénégal Saint-Louis Ndar so foofu lañ nekkoon doon jànga ci daara ji ñun ay taalibe leen foofu lañ nekkoon bu ñëw jànga na si daara ji si lañ dem di ko fa jànga te time boobu Africa mun naa ne 3 countries ñoo ko fi am wala 4 so bu ma jàngee nag ba am ba jegee black belt amaguma woon black belt time boobu so gars yi nag si lañ mu bëggoon a xëcca trap ma pour ma bokk si seen national team bi foofu so ma xam ne Gambia sama réew sport bi nekkut fi ma waxtaan sama ki may jàngal ma ne ko dama bëgg a dem Gambia yóbbu fa sport bi so mu apprécier ko si laa ñëw ici ko fi 2008 2009 nag si laa am black belt so sport bi nii la fi duggee sport bi nag comme Vietnam ñoom ñoo ko moom waaye bëgguñu woon mu génn fa because dafa am secret because seen military bi moom lañ dee use pour defend seen enemies yi bu bàyyi xel woowu Vietnam and America ñoom amuñu woon weapon boo xam ne moom lañ doon use
martial art bi lañ
doon use ba nga xam ne pour mun leen a defeat so moo tax seen secret la woon bëgguñu woon sport bi génn waaye ñu aaye woon ku fa jàngale sport bi biir Vietnam so si la am ñu ko jàngale ñu commencé di leen jàpp di leen rey so ñi nga xam ne génn neen nag ñoo dawee Vietnam génn dem Europe ñi dem America léegi ñoom nag ñoo génne sport bi because dañ leen doon aaye ku leen jàngale biir Vietnam ñu ko doon jàngale ñu leen di jàpp di leen rey di rey seen famille pour ñu bañ koo jàngale because seen secret la woon ñoom ne si leen daw génn am na si koo xam ne sax moo war a jiite suñ tournament bi moom bokkoon na si ñu génn jigéen la right now ni mooy jigéen bu raw si àddina bi muy Master Kambin Nguyen right now mi ngi Dakar
moom Vietnamese la
moom mooy caaya women bi moom Vietnamese la te moo yóbbu sport bi US in America mooy seen président bi so moom mi ngi war a ñëw moom moo war a host moo war a jiite tournament bi moom am na 72 years te soo ko gisee da ngaa foog ne yow yaa ko
waaw because ñoom seen martial daf dee tax you're younger because of the exercise and the food they eat and everything that's amazing
sport bi noonu la mel so moo tax biir Vietnam ku amul black belt sax doo join seen soldat bi
doo ko fa join so léegi ma bëggoon a xam rek boo ko indee Gambia pour introduce ko fi at that time mu ngi nekk loo xam ne is completely new because xëy na karaté moom karaté dafa nekk li nga xamante ne su dut balaa ñu ko fi introduce waaye film yi ñu dee seetaan gis ñoom Jet Li gis ñoom Jackie Chan it's embedded koo laaj karaté na la mun a wax something about it waaye lii was completely new at that time so naka nga def ba nga ko bil ba léegi ñuy war a mun a am tournament fii si Gambia balaa ñoo ñëw si Mr Njie
ok sister laaj nga lu am important parce que bu ma ko fi ici even master karaté yi sax xamuñ sport bi because xëy na ñu koo gis ñuy sol uniforme yu blue because karaté white la ñoo sol soo demee si taekwondo white mu am lu black waaye bii blue uniforme xamuñu ko ñoom sax xamuñu ko so bu ma ñëwee nag isi ko fi mu nekkoon lu métti nag waaye dama gëm ne nit sooy initier dara na nga ko man parce que sooy def dara te mënuloo ko amuloo ci xam-xam du dem moo tax lépp looy def rek na nga ci am xam-xam bu ma ñëwee nag soo ma jël yenn booy yoo xam ne karaté lañ doon def ñaari booy yoo xam ne xaw nañu am technique karaté tuuti ma jël leen di leen traînal sama kër affaire yi di gën a viral may isi gars yi ma dem ba nga xam ne sport bi nekkul combo rek la war a am parce que soo demee ci dëkki àll yi di nga fa gis ñoo xam ne dañ am talent te dañ dëgër si laa jàlla yóbbu ko dëkk bu ñu wax Fass Thiaxo xam ne foofu mooy sama cosaan foofu laa cosaano donte fii laa juddoo waaye sama famille yi foofu lañ cosaano so bu ma ko fa yóbboo nag di jàngal gars yi within 1 year su ma dem demonstration ay Farafeñe wala fu manti nekk si Sénégal ñoom laay yóbbu because ñoom ñoo gën a strong léegi nag balaa su ma amee programme dama invite benn master karaté wala master kung fu man ak moom ñu join def ay technique so gars yi nag commencé dama xam noonu laay def di def ba yàlla dogal ne affaire yi
ñëw léegi beneen Mr Njie bi rek moom yow tamit sport bi naka nga ko dundee si Gambia bi moom naka la inspire parce que moom moo njëkk a am black belt in the sport so yow tamit yaa ngi koo def naka sa student la waaw so yow sport bi naka nga ko demee ba gis nga feel ne lii li nga xamante ne la di nga ko mën a def
maa ngi nuyu ñëpp leen ziara di appreciate invite bi ñu invite so lii yàgg nañ ko sàkku because soo nekkee di def sport da nga laaj media pour nga mun a expose ok li nga laaj ci concerning about naka laa ko dundee sport bi dafa nekk loo xam ne not only physical thing but psychologically mentally dafa am yar bu si nekk si biir soo duggee si biir da nga ko dee xam soo ñëwee nga xool students yi da nga xam ne ñi yar mu ngi si ñoom so comme ni ko Master Mamoud waxee bu mu ñëwee in 2008 introduce ko after then in 2010-11 si laa ko meet mu explain ma dan si laa ñëw ma join ko by then saal bi mu ngi woon Latrikunda si school bi fii Latrikunda fii waaw so from there ñu move Serekunda to after then ñu move to Latrikunda moom fu mu dëkka si nursery school before so ok dama gis ne sport bi is different with other sports okay moom is combined with all technique of the other sports like karate kung fu taekwondo comme ni ko waxee and then soo duggee si sport bi da ngaa gis ne discipline bu si nekk man moo ma gën a inspire discipline bu si nekk da nga am yar boo xam ne internally foo dem da ngaa different
sports in general
waaw sport in general there's a discipline that's why loolu si la bokk so loolu moo tax ñun ñu nekk si and then ba tey fu ñu toll nii
balaa ñu waxtaan affaire yi tournament bi discipline is important xam nga moo si soo waxee affaire yi sports karaté ñu bëri dañ la leen discipline bi I can benn scénario moo xewoon dama gis a group of people youngsters you know ñu ngi jógee karaté boori Busumbala ñu ngi sol white uniform di ñibbi ma paak suma moto bi ma wàcca ma tëj bunta ma dem ma ne gaane dama bëgg a challenge dama bëgg a seet ndax yéen mun ngeen karaté ba faale huñ ma sax you know ma ne gaane ñu ne ma ne non ñoom nekkuñ di lifin yooyu noonu so ma ne ok discipline boobu laa doon proof because dama feel ne time boobu ku mun karaté rek yow dang dee violent yow dang dee pare pour xeex all the time
actually ñu ne loolu is the complete opposite
wow so it's totally different
the complete opposite
you know so ñu waxtaan affaire yi
tournament bi waaw léegi tournament bi kañ la ak yan countries ñooy compete ak yooyu xam nañ kañ la obviously but yan countries ñooy compete ak naka la ko Gambia demee process bi ba mun koo war a
bañ ko mun a host fii waaw
ok jërëjëf daanaka loolu moo doon gën a tax jotaay bi am tournament bi soo gisee mu am ñu nar ko defee Gambia suñ liggéey moo tax because ñëwuñ rek toog comme other association ñun tagetuñ national ñun suñ taget mooy international but right now ni national am nañ recognition ak international yëpp seen community bi yëpp nangu nañ ne Gambia léegi am na sport bi Vovinam te àddina bi yëpp xam nañ ko ba biir Vietnam because of ki nga xam ne moom mooy kilifa gi nekk America ti Master Nguyen Lock ci ndimbali Master Yunus Yadd moom mooy technical director bu Mauritanie moom moo ñu gën a taxaw ba gan googu nga xam ne même yeneen réew yi dañ ko dee soxla lu mel ni Italie France waaye pour ñu jot ko sax daf dee jafe ñëwoon na fi 2022 def fi benn séminaire pour ñetti country Sénégal Gambia ak Mauritania si lañ amoon suñ boy 7 boy yu doon def black belt so buñ demee nag ba nga xam ne tournament bi ñu ko doon def biir US America every year foofu lañ ko daan defee ñu ko daan waaye Italie daan dem Afrique yi daan dem tajee foofu léegi this year Master Yunus Yadd mu waxtaan ak ñoom mi ne leen pourquoi tournament bi ngeen koy defee fii rek xanaa du ngeen ko génnee indi ko Afrique so léegi gars yi nag decide pour génne ko indi ko Afrique bu decide loolu ñoom seen target mooy ñu ne nañ ko defee Gambia ndaxte Gambia dañ serious si sport bi ndaxte ñoom buñ commencé ba léegi ñoom taxawuñ ñu ngee dem ñu ngee góorgóorlu te ñoom amuñ doole te bugga nañ yóbbu fa tournament bi ngir gën a yëkkati Vovinam bi Gambia donte Sénégal d'ici lañ doon màggal seen 40 years si sport bi Sénégal. waaw 40 years. so léegi nag buñ waxee Gambia nag coow yi nag jóg yeneen réew yi nag appel ñu ne lan moo tax ñu ko si Gambia lan moo tax Gambia last country boo xam ne moo ko mujj a am si Afrique bi. ñu ko faa yóbbu waaye Gambia. so gars yi ne foofu lañ ko waroon a yóbbu because tournament bu mel nii. waxuma la karaté rek wala vovinam wala yeneen amul benn sport boo xam ne am nañ ko. because karaté kung fu dañoo ñëw US dañoo ñëw Belgium Italie France dañoo ñëw ak Maroc Mauritanie Sénégal ak Gambia. ñii ñoo ko nar a seeq muy tournament boo xam ne this is first time in Africa so Gambia nag nar ko host muy loo xam ne lu am doole la wax dëgg yàlla.
soo léegi ñu gaawalantu rek xëj na parce que am nañ yeneen segments time bi bëriwut waaye ma bëggoon a xam ndax am nañ de right infrastructure am nañ venue buñ soxla venue bi ground bi ndax yëpp mu ngi level pour ñu mun a am tournament bi nii foofu ma bëgg rek nga wax ñu si loolu because xam nga sports infrastructure nekk na conversation boo xam ne dañ ko dee am all the time di highlight am jafe-jafe so ma bëggoon a xam rek ndax am ngeen ground bu proper because lii international tournament la
sister jërëjëf lii sa laaj bi am na solo trop parce que buñ ñu ko joxee ñun depuis novembre si lañ dem ci National Sport Council ñu mit leen ñu wax leen ne tournament bi dañu war a def so jàppee wuñ ko woon lu serious nag ci njëlbeen ba ci last month bi jàppee wuñ ko woon lu serious so ñu mit ministre bi ñu wax ko si novembre bi so moom si la ñu divert ne leen dellu leen ci National Sport Council ngeen wax ak ñoom ñun tey buñ demee still now jàppee wuñu lu serious waaye ñun
sports council bi daal ñoo leen jàppee wut lu serious
ñun arrièruñ nag ñun arrièruñ because ñun gannaaw
soo ñoom ñu ne lu xew dañ leen daan dali ngeen di dem ñu leen di ñëw
waaw xam nga
ñu leen jox seen gëdda comme wax ak yéen ak yooyu wala luy
waaw loolu la defu maanaam lii tournament bi mosu fee am moo tax jëlewuñ ko woon lu serious waaw loolu mooy dëgg
waaw waaye loolu nag warut
loolu mooy dëgg
mu am si ñàkk fee am loolu warut
considéré sa nit yuy ñëw an mu nekk first time in Africa
di ñoo dellu baak dem leen binda ñëwaat suñ bindee yóbbu leeta bi du dem
bëgg nañoo dégg from the bëgg nañoo dégg tam from the sports council of if they feel like they want to clarify anything but yéen li ngeen a wax ni nekk na loo xam ne warut
leeta yëpp a ngi fi
yéen a ngi amee leeta yëpp
waaw ba ci waaw yëpp secteur mi ngi ko amee Ibrahima Ndiaye so ñu dem ba ci last minute ñu xam ne lii ngee serious
gars yi jàppale bi amul daal
ñu dem wax leen ko dem ci ministre bi daje ku ñuy wax Mr Mbaye pa bu nekk foofu noonu moo topp si ministre bi ñu explainal ko mi ne ñu dem leen ngeen binda mu wax ñu leeta bi nu ñu koo bindee mi ne ngeen jox sport council ngeen copie ñu léegi su ngeen ñu copier sport council suñ ñëwut si ñun danañ leen wax ne leeta ñëw na fi ñu def loolu léegi nag xam naa ñoom copie bu ñu leen copie ñoom si lañ soog a react ñu dem si benn kilifa goo xam ne maanaam si opposition yi la du ma tudda tudd
opposition
fii si Gambia ku mag ku ñëpp xam ñu dem wax ko explainal ko situation bi nu mu demee dafa tiit loolu ngi nekkoon février
loolu ban parti la noonu
ban political jaru
xam nga li si Gambian issue kooko wax rek
mu ne opposition la
waaw kooko wax rek daf koo téyee ne Gambien ñoo ko moom waaw daf koo téyee ne Gambien ñoo ko moom nekkut politique ñun noonu lañ ko jàppee te kooko jox tamit kooko wax tamit daf koo téyee ne li si Gambian issue it's not a party si la call ministre bi mi ne ko ñii dañ am tournament bi nangam te yéen taxaw leen ci even right now ni single dalasi kenn joxuñu ko si ministre si government bi ci fu manti doon te tournament bi next week la
so naka la tournament bi du amee su dara amul
very sad maa ngi ñëw
waaw time nag moom
time bi
mu gaaw rek am benn 1 minute rek ñu wrap up time bi jaamu nañu
bu ko koolee léegi nag moom si la call ministre bi si la call National Sport Council ñoom ñu toog waxtaan bu ñu waxtaanee ñoom ñu ne tournament bi mënuñ koo def because amul fond te ñun already suñ gan yi war a ñëw Italie Amérique ñoom dog nañ seen flight ticket ba pare already ñoom nag ñu seen ñu leeta bi ñu ne tournament bi tournament la waaye mënta nekk ñoom amuñ fond ñoo leen ñun tamit mënuñoo dellu gannaaw because suñ gan yi ñu ngi war a ñëw dog neen seen flight ticket parce que opportunity bi ñëpp a nga ko soxla ñu jox ko Gambia ñu nar koo fail is very sad.
léegi naka la what's the way forward quickly.
ok ñu ngee dox nag di dem ci kilifa yi di dugga di génn ñun ñu ngi def suñ effort ñu ngi xam ñu ngi faa dem pour venue bi fii lañ book Pencami Hall mooy 27
so yéen da ngeen ko nekk di def waaye sports council joxuñ leen blessing.
joxuñu blessing dañu seetaan noonu daal.
They have already rejected us.
So xam nga
waa léegi lu ma bëgg a xam mooy opening ceremony bi ministre benn representative from them du fa wax. yéen daal yéen neen la daal.
waaw danañ leen invite nag.
But in terms of finance and supporting, ñoom war nañu plain ne.
mënuñ ko
mënatuñ ko.
parce que tournament bu mel nii nga am ko ñun ñu ngay gis yow yaa ngay def si yeneen sport yi di jël sa alal di def foofu ñun ñu wax leen ko ngeen xam nga.
waaye seen sport bi register ngeen ko. is register affiliated.
fully.
Tek yaaga ngeen a toppa gaay before
depuis November.
1 year now.
Wow,
1 year.
depuis November ñu ngay dem foofu waaye dama gëm ne comme lu ma njëkk a wax rek dañu jàppee wutoon serious. léegi tiñ si dem ba toll nii. waaye xam naa nag xëy na nag suñ kilifa gi nag moo xamut affaire gi fu mu toll.
waaw mooy ministre bi.
non kilifa gi. kilifa gi.
suñ président.
déedéet seen Mohamed Dia.
waaw
moo xamut affaire fu mu toll waaye su yëgoon ne lii. ngi daw
Mohamed Dia waaw
taxaw na ci bu yàgg. waaye xam naa ne moom ni ko réew mi ñoree ni ko sport ñoree. ak tournament bu mel nii nar a xew Gambia. te kenn naru see def ñu nar koo féelal.
waaw nañ ñaan rek xam naa Mohamed
man suma
moom mu ngi leen di seetaan
man right now problème bi nekkul yéen ak
waaye fi mu nekk nii
waaye gan yi war a ñëw laa nekk di xalaat you know naka la ñoo dalalee gan
waa gan yi si politicien boobu moom mi ngi cee taxaw bu baax a baax fi mu nekk nii am nañ fu ñu am baobab moom jëlal nañu fa 5 people naa wax turam sax. Amakande honorable
Amakande
waaw because nit tamit su la defalee dara. da nga koy apprécier.
waaw
maa bi ni'mati rabbika fahaddith. nit su la defalee dara.
waaw waaye dafa mel ni time bi jàmm nañu. waaye ñu ngi leen di wish good luck. comme noo leen ko waxee rek.
dañoo bàyyi nga joxe sa QCell number bi. pour ku bugg a dimbale rek ku bugg a jàppale. sa QCell number bi.
waaw sama QCell number bi 340. 2734
waaw wala ku ñu mun ci contact rek tamit
soxla nañ ndimbal torop nag it's very sad
waaw ku ñu mun ci
man mi ko jiite te man maay programme manager bi so man lañ ko jox so affaire yi sànn ñemewu ma leen a wax lu xew nag
ok
waaw gan yi war a ñëw ak ñoŋ ñemewu ma leen
dina romba si jaama nag
inshallah
waaw yàlla waa ñu leen di ñaanal ba pare di leen wish good luck di leen wish good luck si programme bi ba pare comme noo ko waxee rek di jaajëfal honorable Mama Kandeh tamit si support bu mu leen providal because government in waiting ñoom opposition lañ waaye lii dañ ko war a def government in waiting moom ñoom tamit dañ war a wone seen boppa su ko defee nit ñi mun a am confidence votal leen du ne government bu teg toog rek moo war a jàppale so ñu ngi leen di jaajëfal si loolu so moving on. We'll just go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be taking a look at suicide. I don't know if you're aware of this, but according to the WHO, over 700,000 individuals get to take their own lives every single year. And this is completely different from the suicide attempts, who also do not seek help due to stigma put in place towards suicide attempts. So we'll just go for a short break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by a health professional who will be telling us what the Gambia government and civil society organizations are putting in place to ensure that all of the reports that we're seeing online that are yet to be confirmed as suicide, that look as suicide, what can we do towards this to change the narrative? We'll be right back.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy Q Power, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send Q money, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow.
QCell mooy suñu boss. QCell mooy suñu boss. QCell mooy suñu boss. Soru Go, ebeda wada full network suta tili. QCell. Ni lafta diamula wati jamala mune diata. QCell. Most reliable network jumala keta wati. QCell. Wo quality man nyon sota jam pona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria. QCell. Sunny boss. Nyo finjeka indi 3G, new delu taxi 4G plus, and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Itella follow adi doron nesa keno. Gambia bela nyon tawo fele QCell. Ko fasunta buka busi QCell. Itella multi milka kukutol nati Gambia. QCell meta lori la kilianol yele imanyina amanda wala itella ka quality dila dadi ma itelle silo wala wodol mume be keno ma. QCell sunny boss. QCell sunny boss. QCell sunny boss. QCell sunny boss. One next solo be bambandi QCell sunny boss. QCell most innovative QCell sunny boss.
Kiumoni arti webi na fitoragol no yawi te non kadi no moƴƴi Kiumoni a wawa wadde piiji ɗin fow kala ko wonɗa wattu kala a wawa hendade mbuuɗi maɗin e o Kiumoni app kesong a wawa nattinde mbuuɗi ma ɗum yaltina soda crédit soda kiw paɓa soda ko falaɗa te non kadi wawa hen yoɓude himɓe e ko heewi ina wawi kadi nuldude Kiumoni yoɓa bilji maɗin te non kadi hendoɗa mbuuɗi ko yaasi nulda himɓe kadi mbuuɗi fi nafitoragol ɗum no weeɓi yahu ka play store ma ɗum ka app store fi wawa fuɗɗade fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi noddu Kiumoni customer care e 133 Kiumoni suñu kalpe minen udditi lawol ngol si woɓɓe jokki Kiumoni e muruntananne koteke anilañi mobile app sone yaringo a lannayata ndun e sekuwol be keno ibe dawoda wati o wati e se muna fanno ila kodola anin Kiumoni la ñim mobile app kuto ise kodo dundino ye kodo fintinde ise credit ko sanno ye Q power sang ye fengol sang ndun fanan ise mol jono anin ku jamalu ise Kiumoni kino yela bilol jo ndun fanan bantala banko se kodo kiyeno ise kodo fanan kino do kotenye pour que muna
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jenna Vasonko. So now we're shifting our attention to a public health emergency, which is suicide, which happens across the world. And according to the WHO, over 700,000 individuals get to take their own lives every single year. And individuals who also are reluctant to seek help due to the stigma attached to suicide. And now we're joined by Jibril Gando, who is from the Ministry of Health, and just have a conversation. I've seen since we've seen reports online, like I will always say this, we do not have confirmation from the Gambia Police Force to say these are suicide. All we know is that by the look of things, it's suicide based on the process, the images that we've seen and the way and manner the person lost his or her life. So we've seen a lot of advocacy at the level of the Ministry of Health on engaging the public, encouraging the public to talk to people and do what's right when it comes to suicide-related matters. So let's delve into the conversation straight. We've seen the ministry start this advocacy before these incidences happen. What are some of the initiatives that the ministry has been using to ensure that the public is sensitized when it comes to suicide?
Thank you very much, Jenaba and Balde, for having me once again. Well, I would want to start with this, that as far as health is concerned, you cannot be truly healthy without mental health.
Right.
Because health in general is a complete physical, mental and social, well-being of an individual.
Right.
So the physical, that is mostly where people concentrate on.
Yeah.
And then the mental, people do not put that much, regard
concentration on it, yes.
Because, and there is where the problem of suicide comes in.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, mental health is our emotional, and mental, feeling. So, and then if you don't have that stable or stability in your mental health, it can lead you to, thoughts,
suicide attempts and
thoughts
yeah.
of suicide.
Yes.
You understand? And as you said, before the program, that, you know, almost 70% of people at some point in time, you feel that, you know, you have that thought, not an attempt, but the thought that Ali, it's better for me to die, you understand, than to go through this heartbreak.
Yes.
It's better for me to die than to go through this loss, you understand? So there are a lot of reasons, because when you look at suicide, the factors that lead to suicide, among them are poverty, unemployment,
bullying,
you understand, and then a poor background, you understand, you have hopelessness sometimes, you have some people just the migration, you understand, experiences that they go through. This can give them some mental problems.
The bullying aspect on a daily basis, being bullied by
physically
people.
bullying, and online bullying.
Yes.
You understand? So for some people, even a heartbreak from their loved ones
can
lead them to break mentally. And if they break mentally, sometimes all they need is somebody to talk to, somebody to listen to them, somebody to say kind things to them, somebody to guide them.
Right.
You understand? So when you are in such kind of states, it is very likely that you might have these suicide thoughts.
Yeah.
And if you don't have somebody to guide you, somebody to listen to you, you understand, you might be in a darkness.
Yeah. So
and during that period of darkness is where those thoughts can be implemented.
So because of time constraints, we're going to take this quickly. You talked about the fact that most people look at the physical health. I'm going to tell you, or Balde, you're not, by just looking,
physically,
you're not going to know the person is sick.
All of us,
Why, what that person is going through, the person knows. Granted.
Definitely.
So at the level of the hospitals, are there trained counselors at that level under the Ministry of Health, posted at different hospitals, so that when people go for help be mufa, but then we also, you know, factor in mental health accompanied by febar bum am.
Well, thank you very much. And today, as I am doing this program, the mental health program under the Ministry of Health, they are validating their policy.
Okay.
At one of the hotels. That's why I couldn't be here with the program manager herself, because I informed her that we should be here. But because she is the program manager and she is the one hosting the policy, she has to be at the validation. That's why. So she said, let me apologize on her behalf. So what the ministry is doing, we have, as you said, mental health nurses.
Okay.
Nurses who are nurses, general nurses, but they are also trained on mental health, psychiatrics, you know, psychology, so that in the absence of a specialist, like a psychiatrist or a psychologist, that nurse in each of the health centers is trained to handle mental health cases. And above that also, we have each health center now have somebody who is trained. If there is no doctor, there is somebody who is trained, identified as a mental health nurse. These are nurses that are given additional training about psychology, mental health, because for nurses, during their training at the School of Nursing, they have modules on psychology, on mental health. So when they finish, we identify one among them who is the focal person in that health facility to address or to deal with mental health issues.
There's a gap.
But yeah, there is a gap. Because we don't have enough. We don't have enough of them. We don't have enough psychologists, specialists. These are specialists, mental health specialists, psychologists or psychiatrists. We don't have enough of this. So most of it is the nurses that are trained to step in their shoes.
Why nurses is at the level of consultation, so February, so deme, they bring in that mental health aspect, muduga.
Because remember, we just dealt with the COVID, you know, and during the COVID, among the committees that were set up to respond to COVID, you remember there was a mental health and psychology committee. So this shows that the ministry at all levels, we always make sure that mental health is captured, is catered for. So that's why now in this new policy that they are developing, every health center, every hospital will have a psychiatric unit, will have a mental health unit, whereby anybody who comes in with signs and symptoms of mental disorder, then they will be referred to that unit to be taken care of holistically, so that we will not go into mixing everything together
because
as what we used to, before.
We go to the hospital.
That's a fact.
We go to the hospital, and when you go, that mental health touch, they feel.
Yeah, but
it's missing.
It's there.
It's missing.
Sort of a space for mental health counseling.
Come here, Sate, but they make consultation. Normal lopitan. There should be a sense of lulu.
Wow, because nurse be dina ko def. Why henya yo do muna understand he is also checking, or she is also checking whether you are stable mentally or not.
Okay.
Because questions similar like nekune is all going to be related to your physical health.
Okay.
So some of these questions will be related to assess your mental stability.
I'm in 2 minutes for them. Tanka. Moneka the only psychiatric hospital.
Yes.
So you validate this document.
Yes.
What component mo look at tanka? Because tanka dem na benga hamnan tenesa dafa neka institution bo hamne ko am donation fofu nga ko yobu. Parce que feel nga ne mut lawon.
Wow. So
mota ko am sa donation fofu nga ko yobu. Environment is not colorful enough. Melut num wara mel pour tay ko nga xamantene dafa am mental issue mu strive. Nit ñi dinañ wéra yoyu waaye it should be better.
In fact tanka sa nit ñi ñu ngi believe ne léegi so ne tanka sa dafa day gëna yokal mental health problems because of the notion
bobu mom stigma bi la rek.
Wow, that is the stigma, because people have a bad notion about mental health. But when not knowing that they are, even those people who are stigmatizing, they are even having those mental disorders. Because when you talk of mental health, you have different types.
Bipolar, anxiety,
even depression. You understand? Feeling down. You understand? You dahala sa ligay. During that period, you have going through you are going through a mental disorder. Whether it will develop to another stage, aga to the level of boy hames above or not, it's a different thing. You understand? But there are different types of mental disorders, because even anxiety. You understand? Some point. Some people feel so low, some people feel so high, just because of certain things. Some people get fear of something. You understand? Nyeneni of only fear of the camera, to tell them you're going to QTV and the camera is mental disorder because of that anxiety, that fear. You understand? So there are different types. Some for them is food disorder. You understand? Overeating. You understand? You're thinking that you are normal when you are going through a mental disorder. You understand? So there are different types. You have post-traumatic stress.
So dang mabugane at least kuneka amgal.
So you ma wax ni yep setal yow na gena nga si yep. So ñun yep at some point in our life we experience mental disorder.
So does this policy also consider workplace?
Because
because workplace nit ki da nga yaangi kër
because disorder yi ñoo wax ni yëpp some of them you get them through the job.
Looy nekk sa liggéeykaay moo ëpp li nga nekk sa kër te liggéeykaay yi foofu la bullying yi de am toroxalante yi yëpp foofu la de toroxalante bullying yi foofu si liggéeykaay yi la
da nga gis koo xam ne sax dafa kontaan ba su ñëwee workplace am mu stress.
So that's why now the new that's why the new policy that's why new policy bu ñu defar dafa even have a component of workplaces.
Okay, that's very good.
People will be oriented like QTV, because I'm going to a lot of staff. You understand? So maybe somebody will be identified to be trained to counsel people about mental health and all that. You understand?
Because
but confidentiality is confidentiality.
Confidentiality amul na.
So duñ jël ñëpp rek comme ñu mel ni Jeena ba rek ñala yow kay ngay li fi.
maa mun a defend human rights nag.
Su boobaa nag mun nga faj ni seen kaas.
Waaye fu mu nekk nii.
I'm telling you.
Mental health da ngaa nii.
I'm telling you.
But thank you so much for joining us on the program. We need more time to have this conversation because it's very broad.
With you two people.
Yeah, so we'll just go for a short break, and when we come back, we will take a look at how the Confederation of African Football have given temporary use to our stadium. It's been banned for a very long time because it did not meet the standard. So now we have met the standard temporarily, but also the press release highlighted how there should be improvement of equipment when it comes to the pitch. So we'll be joined by sports journalist Mamadou Gajaga to give us an update on this.
So
we will be right back.
I would like you to give me this. Anybody who is going
to use secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new Q Money app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy Q Power, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send Q Money, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. Q Money, Sinu Calpe. We innovate, others follow.
QCell mooy suñu boss. QCell mooy suñu boss. QCell mooy suñu boss. Go, ebe dawa full network sudatili. QCell. Ni lafta diamla wati jamala mune diata. QCell. Most reliable network dumala keta wati. QCell. Wo quality man nyon soda jam ona manke QCell. Hanibe wulo ni farole kono walante be bako na jala fayola network ko se taria. QCell suñu boss. Nyo finjeka indi 3G ñu delu taxi 4G plus and now we bring you 5G. 5G. First and only 5G provider. Itella follow adi doron nesa keno. Gambia bela nyon tawo fele QCell. Ko fasunta buka busi QCell. Itella multi milka kukutol nati Gambia QCell meta lori la kiliano yele imanyina amanda wala itella ka quality.
Welcome back from that break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So in a letter dated 11th April 2025 to the Gambia Football Federation, CAF acknowledged the significant improvements made at the Gambia Independence Stadium's pitch and granted temporal approval for 2 upcoming matches, although CAF emphasized the need for pitch equipment to meet the full requirements for a permanent certification. And to add on to this, we are joined by sports journalist Mamadou Gajaga on the program. Thank you so much for joining us. Gajaga, I mean, as a sports journalist, sports enthusiast, I'm sure this is welcome news on your side, getting the opportunity to go to the Independence Stadium to directly report on matches.
Best news at the best time. We've been sitting for 4 years. The last time we went to the stadium to cover Gambia's international game was on the 25th of March, 2021.
That's a long time.
That was the day that we qualified for our first Africa Cup of Nations against Angola. We won by a 0-0, goal scored by Asan Cisse.
Right.
Joyful day. It was during the COVID. In fact, you know, the stadium at the time, no supporter was there. It was after the game when it was confirmed that the Gambia won, then the supporters came and celebrated with the team.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time, 4 very uneasy years as far as the Gambia is concerned. And recently, this has affected somehow the team's performance because they would play their home matches away, most of the time in Morocco. Recently, we got a home game that we're supposed to play against Kenya, and the game was played in Côte d'Ivoire, in Abidjan, so due to the ban on the stadium. So I think this is a massive relief. Relief for us journalists, because we are supporters first before we become journalists. We all love the Gambia, the national teams, whether it's the U17, whether it's the under-23 or the under-20, and even the senior national team as well. So this temporary approval, he would want it at some point to become permanent approval, or full approval if you like. So like you mentioned in that press release, it came through the Gambia Football Federation to the Ministry of Youth and Sports. They posted it on Wednesday. So there were some inspection team members who came to the Independence Stadium, do an inspection in the stadium, and they certified that they're happy with what they've seen so far. But temporarily, this is the game that is going to be played there. The Gambia will be playing against Algeria. It is in the CHAN qualifiers. So if you hear CHAN, it's an Africa Cup of Nations meant for domestic players, players who play their club football within the African continent. So that competition's qualifiers, the first game, is going to be in Gambia, and it will be hosted.
And there's one on women's football.
Yes, also women's football. Also, we should be playing against Cote d'Ivoire for the AFCON qualifiers. So that's the last round of qualifiers. So the home game for the Gambia will also be hosted at the stadium, according to this press release.
Okay, this is just a temporarily, I mean, acceptance for us to play our games.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things you think should be improved?
Yes, so they talk about the pitch. There are certain equipments that they need to procure. According to Minister Bakari Baji, who we featured on the news on Saturday, we spoke to him concerning what are some of the structural adjustments that need to be made. So he talked about the pitch. There are certain things that they need to procure. He said the procurement process have already started. Those equipments are available in France. So through that, you know, if everything is fixed, they expect the stadium to be giving permanent approval, and then the Gambia would continue playing their matches at the stadium. Because it's been long overdue. And
so Gajaga, I've seen a lot of conversations emerging online about the fact that the Chinese obviously built the stadium. So there are a lot of conversations about if we had approached them for a renovation. I've seen a lot of sports journalists coming up with that argument. So that argument is actually prompted by the fact that in Senegal recently the Chinese government has renovated about 3 to 4 stadiums there. So do you know if we've approached them before, or if we've actually looked at a kind of grant to do this before using government coffers?
Yeah, it depends. So no two situations are the same. Sometimes I think it's a little bit unfair when people do comparisons with Senegal. Senegal is Senegal, and then Gambia is Gambia. We can never be them, and they can never be us. So maybe they have their own things that how they work on things. Of course, when it comes to standard, we should all aim for standardization at a certain level. So for their arrangement, I don't know how with the Chinese, whether it is like they gave them the contract to do the renovation of their stadium. One of them was the Leopold Sedar Senghor. That's their national stadium that has been there. In fact, that was the stadium that hosted the 1992 Africa Cup of Nations. Senegal hosted AFCON in '92, which Ivory Coast won. They went to the final with Ghana and then won on penalties. So I don't know what the arrangements are. Like you said, if it is a grant from the child, very good for them.
It is actually a grant.
Yeah, but for us, yes, it was funds raised by the government and then contract awarded. So that contract was the remodeling of the stadium. That's what they call it, to give it a new face, because the stadium was constructed in 1983, opened in '84, and then since then it didn't have a major renovation. So everything about it before was old. It's not like a modern stadium. So some of the adjustments that are made there, it is for it to be modernized to meet standards where it can host international football. So well and good for Senegal. Possibly could have the Gambia government approach also China. Maybe they could have.
Maybe they did. We don't know.
Maybe.
But even our renovation, I mean, the remodeling, it's not looking bad, huh?
Absolutely, it doesn't look bad. No. So for our eyes, it is good. It is standard, and then it has reached at a certain level, which is acceptable at least. But many would demand that, it could be much, much better than this.
And also, before we leave, the fact that this is also going to be Gajaga saving money for the for like the federation, because then they will have to pay per diems for people to travel and away matches, paying people per diem, paying money to staff. Then this money maybe can be channeled into other development areas.
Even travel, because if you have a whole national team traveling to a particular country, air tickets alone, you're talking about a delegation of maybe 40 people. So the air ticket is going to be expensive. Hotel in that country.
Exactly.
So playing your home matches at home is much
cheaper.
Much
So I hope that money now can be used into other grassroots football initiatives that are supposed to happen in our communities. But thank you so much for joining us. Now we hope for a permanent certification so that we get to continuously host these matches. So Ibrahim, I'm afraid that is all we have time for. So I will be joining you on Thursday, inshallah, and Ibrahim will be here to continue. Good luck. It's all yours.
Thank you.
All right. See you tomorrow.